In this video, we're having a look at the Motorola Razr 60 2025. Hi, I'm Lee. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a lovely day. So this is Motorola's flip phone, entry-level flip phone for 2025. This is the Razr 60. There is a higher spec model, which I think is the Razr 60 Ultra, but we're going to have a look at this. So let's talk about specs and the basic stuff. The price is $11.99. It goes on sale July 10th in Australia, which is hopefully the day that this video is coming out. It comes in two different colors. This is the Gibraltar Blue, and there's a Pantone Parfait Pink. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly because it's spelled interestingly. In terms of physical specs, you have a USB-C port down here on the bottom. You have a sleep button and a couple of volume buttons on this side, and then nothing there on that side. It's got a fingerprint scanner as well as a face recognition. I really like the fingerprint scanner because the fingerprint scanner is built into the side button. So as you push the side button, in fact, let me just close it, let me just lock it there. It does also have facial recognition, so I'm just going to sort of point it away from my face so that it doesn't unlock with my face. And there you can see if I don't put a thing, it shows me there that I can tap my finger and that will unlock it with my finger. But I've actually found that the facial recognition is so fast in terms of unlocking it that if you turn on facial recognition, the fingerprint scanner on the button is not that useful because it unlocks so quickly with facial recognition. But if you don't want to use facial recognition, the fingerprint scanner built into the button, I really like that feature. It has a MediaTek Dimensity 7400X CPU. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I guess that's fairly grunty. In terms of performance, I haven't had any issues, and we'll go through that in a little bit more detail later. In terms of screens, the internal screen is a 6.9-inch screen, and the internal screen is a 3.6-inch screen. And you've got some really cool features with the external screen. I'll get into that in a little bit later. In terms of charging, it can do up to 30-watt charging when you plug it in with a compatible charger, and it does have wireless charging as well. So I like wireless charging. I use wireless charging more than anything else, so wireless charging for me is a nice thing. Little bit of a bonus is it does come actually with a case. So you've got this case that it ships with. I'm not going to put it on properly, but you can see that the case comes in two bits, and you put on the bottom bit and the top bit. And yeah, so I do like the fact that it does come with a case. I don't know how much I would actually use the case. I really like the look of it being au naturel, but if you do want a case, it does ship with a case as well, which is nice. In terms of the quality of the screens, I think the screens are really, really good. So the internal screen has a peak brightness of 3000 nits, which, if you're not sure what that, basically that's how you measure the brightness. That's really, really bright. And the external screen is 1700 nits. So in terms of seeing the screens outside in sort of bright daylight, not an issue at all. I think that's a really good, that's no complaints from me on that one. Another nice feature of the screen is the refresh rate. So it's got an 120 hertz refresh rate, which means that when you're moving things along, it's very, very smooth, as you can see there. But it's also got what's called a adaptable refresh rate. So it can lower the refresh rate up to 1 hertz if you've got something on the screen that's not moving a lot. So for example, if you were just looking at the screen like this, I'm not sure how often you just stare at the home screen, but if you were, it can slow the refresh rate down so that it doesn't use a lot of battery life, because it doesn't need to use that really fast refresh rate. But if you're playing a game, or if you're flicking through things really quickly, so for example, if I was just flicking through, where are my photos? Where are my photos? They're photos. Right in front of my face. Yep, allow it to do whatever it needs to do. So if I'm flicking through my photos really, really quickly there, you can see that it's flicking through the photos without any sort of issues or any lag or any stutter, anything like that. So that's what the refresh rate refers to. There is a little bit of a crease, but you really have to, you see I'm adjusting it there so you can see the crease there if you see the screen in the right kind of light. But if you're not looking at it in that particular light, there's really not, like, the crease is not a big issue for me. I've found that obviously when it's folded you see the crease, but otherwise I very rarely see the crease. I see the whole foldable thing. I just really, really like the foldable thing. I think the thing that I like the most about the foldable thing is that when you want to hang up on someone in anger, well, I totally disagree with you. You can really, really do that, which is nice. I appreciate that. Not that I do that often. I think I should make that clear. I don't, hang up in anger very often, but when I do, I want to be able to hang up in anger. A few other things in terms of specs. It comes with 256 gigs of internal storage. Unfortunately, that isn't expandable, and it does have Android 15, and it comes with 3 years of Android updates and 4 years of security updates. In terms of cameras, you've got a 32 megapixel internal camera, so that's the selfie camera in the camera there, and then you've got 2 cameras on the outside. You've got a 50 megapixel main camera, and then you've got a 30 megapixel ultra wide. In terms of specs of video, you've got 4K 30 frames per second and 1080 at 30 frames and 60 frames per second. You do have AI assisted stabilization for video, so if you're moving around while you're shooting video, it can stabilize a little bit. Your results may vary, and it depends on, you know, how good the light is and all that kind of thing, but it's nice that it's there. In terms of the actual quality of the photos and the videos that you can get out of this, I think you get pretty darn good quality of photos and videos out of the camera. I do really like the camera app. I mean, this is more of an Android versus iPhone thing. I think iPhone, they've done a lot better in terms of the manual features that you have in the built-in camera app, but the camera app here, I think, definitely gives you more features and functions. The fact that you've got this Pro option here, and so you can go in and you can really adjust manually all your manual stuff. Yeah, I definitely prefer that. I do find that Android phones very often will slightly oversaturate and over-sharpen their images, but it's very easy to compensate that with manual settings. You can get third-party apps that fix it. But overall, I think, you know, you've got learn how to navigate your external thing. This is a thing that I actually really like about these phones. The fact that, you know, you've got these little tutorials that talk you through step by step what you can do and how you can do it and all this sort of stuff. I really like technology that comes with built-in. A lot of people might find the tutorials a little bit annoying, but I like the tutorials. I like the fact that you've got little instructions of, oh, did you know you could do that? You know you could do that. The reason for that is because there are so many features and functions in all smartphones these days, is that I think it's really nice to have these little tutorials where there's stuff in there that might be really, really useful to you, but you've got no idea that it's there. So the fact that you've got these little tutorials that show you how to use these things and get more out of your device, I think is a really good thing, even though a lot of people who do know all that stuff find it a little bit annoying. You're going, yeah, next. But I think overall, I think the fact that tutorials are built in is just a very general thing. I think generally is a good thing. Now let's get into the party piece. The thing that's sort of one of the things that really makes us stand out is the external screen. So I really like the fact, you know, it's funny, when you first look at it, you look at, wow, that's a really, really small screen. But I just want to compare something for you. Here is my iPhone 4. I think that's an iPhone 4. And when you look at an iPhone 4, and the screen of this, and you look at the screen of that, the screen's actually not that much smaller, not that much bigger of what the actual phone used to be. So I think keep in mind that this screen looks really small to us now, but we used to have screens, you know, that were pretty small that way, and that was our main screen. Now, having said that, just because something used to be one way and now it's better doesn't mean it's better the old way. You know, like we used to have really bad things and now we have better things. So I suppose that negates that argument a little bit. But I think the moral of that argument was that the screen is totally usable, and I really like how you can use most apps on the screen. So for example, you can flick through your screen here and you can see there that I've got my contacts, I've got games, and these are a few games that are specifically designed for the external screen. Then your main screen gives you your options to your camera, your text messages, your photos, and obviously the Google Gemini, so all the Gemini stuff, all the AI stuff, which I'm not going to get into too much because that's a whole nother thing. You can set up a lot of different apps. So by default, there are some apps that work on here very well and other apps not so much. Some of the apps that work on here really well, so for example, I go into photos, so it's very easy to scroll through and find and look through some of your photos, and you've got your videos as well, so you can just flick through them and then you can see your photos, your videos, all that kind of stuff, and you can just flick up to get out of it. You do have your notifications down here, so if I just tap on that, that shows me some of the notifications that are coming through. If I go through the next window, again, I was showing you some of the apps. I'll get into a few other apps later. So you can see here, if I go into my text messages, you can see those text messages are quite easy to read, quite easy to see. If you want to respond, you can type on, then you can tap away. Now, you know, I mean, in terms of how easy it is to tap, you can exit full screen there and you can go in to see your chat and so on. I don't know if I'd be tapping responses on here, but to read text messages and just to see notifications on this external screen without having to open the whole phone up, I'm a big fan of the external screen. Then you've got, I've got my calendar over here. I can flick through and I can see weather and I can see more details. A really nice thing about this is when you go into the camera, so let me just jump into the camera here. This allows you to use the external, for lack of a better word, better camera for your selfies. Because normally, if you had your camera open, you would have, how do I get into my selfie stuff? Yeah, I just flick that around and I'm using the selfie camera on the internal one, but keep in mind, this is a 32 megapixel camera, whereas this is a 50 megapixel camera if you're not using the wide one, which I think is 13 megapixels. So this allows you to take really good selfie photos and to see yourself and so on. Obviously don't take it at this angle because this is not a good angle for photos. I mean, you know what, here's the thing. With creative stuff, there's always rules and you can break the rules. So if you want to take this photo, in fact, let me take the photo now. And I showed you there another thing, you can just tap the screen to take photos. So again, it's really easy to access this and, hey, how's it going? Take photos. So there's lots of little things that I like about this. Another really cool thing that I like while we're talking on the camera is that when you're taking the phone out of your pocket, you can just jiggle it and that will automatically, if you've set this up, open up the camera app. So at the moment here, I've got it set to ask me which camera app I wanted to use, but I'm going to say no, just use the normal camera app. So as you're taking, if something really interesting happens, you take it out of your pocket, you shake it, the camera automatically comes up. Yep, always use that. The camera always comes up and it's very quick and easy to get to camera. So that's one feature. I think that's definitely, that's built into all Motorola phones, but that's definitely a feature that I really, really like about the Motorola phones because it just speeds things up. I don't have to tap, I don't have this. And generally when you want to take a photo really quickly, you want to, get to that photo and take it really quickly. Something really cool is really happening. Your child's doing something entertaining or what have you. Something I also really like is when you fold the screen and you're watching YouTube, it adjusts the UI. It uses the foldiness of it in a clever way. So I've got my settings down here on the bottom, or I could have my comments or what have you, and then I've got the video down here on the top, and you can just scroll through that, and it doesn't adjust, it leaves one screen one way or the other. Also, when you fold the screen, you can set it to continue playing your video on the screen, which, again, if I was just watching this like on the train or something like that, it's perfectly usable. So I really, really like how the UI makes use of the external screen and the foldiness and so on. A really cool way of showing that is another thing when you're shooting video. So if I go into the camera, and let me just close that video, thank you very much. If I go into the camera and I turn on video mode and then I fold the screen, you can see that it gives me what they call, it's kind of like a camcorder mode. So you can hold your phone like a ye old timey camcorder and record your video like this. And you can see here in the settings, it's actually showing me that I can just tap the screen here and that will start recording, and you can then swipe down and that will zoom in and out. So if I just go through these settings, and I go, yep, I want it to record in horizontal. So I just tap and that starts recording. I just scroll down on this side and that zooms in or zooms out. So I can just flick and that adjusts the zoom, which is pretty darn cool. And then just tap to stop recording. Again, I know I'm gushing a bit, but I really like how what they've done with not just going, oh, well, we're just going to fold a phone and we're going to make it foldable. It's looking at the phone and going, right, well, we're making it foldable. How can we take real advantage of this and give you things that you may not normally have by folding the phone? So I really like how, the phone gives you some really nice features and functions and options by being foldable. In terms of SIM cards, you have an eSIM as well as a standard SIM card. That's really handy because it means you can have sort of two connections at once. So particularly if you travel, what you could do is you could have your local Australian number on your eSIM, and then you could buy a local SIM in whatever country you're going to have data off of that, because data for roaming is normally really expensive. Or you could do it the other way, where you could have an Australian SIM card, and then when you're traveling, what you could do is you could use one of the services. There's a few different services that you can have. In fact, I'll put a link down in the description below to a discount code that I have for one of the services where you can basically pay for, you pay $10, whatever, and it gives you data in whatever country. So that's really useful to have those two different SIM cards. In terms of playing games, I'm not a huge mobile gamer, but as you can see here, you know, it runs games just fine. I'm finding the refresh rate and all the playability. Yeah, games work just fine. Yeah, that's all there is to say really about the gaming. So what are my final thoughts of the Motorola Razr 60 2025? I think, you know, look, the one thing that I think could be better is it could be a little bit cheaper. If they could get this under $1,000, that would be amazing. But I can see why, for the specs and all the features and functions you've got in here, why it costs $1,200. I think for $1,200, the processor you're getting, the speed you're getting, it would be nice if there was a little bit more storage. 256 gigs for most people is fine, but it'd be nice if there was if there was at least, you know, a little bit more if you could have, but you know, it is what it is. I think overall, value for money, I think for a foldable phone in 2025, I think Motorola's done a pretty good job with this. And if you are looking for a pretty nice foldable Android phone, I suppose most Android, if you want a foldable phone, you've got to go Android, so that's a silly thing to say. Yeah, I think the Motorola Razr 60 is definitely worth looking at. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it was useful. If it has been helpful or useful, please like and subscribe. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for your support, and we'll catch you in the next one. Safe and happy flipping, I guess. In terms of gameplay, yeah, you know, I'm not a huge mobile gamer, but oh, no, okay, yeah, oh, God. In terms of the specs of what you can do, in terms of what you can record, you can get 40, a few other things about the specs. It comes with 256 gigs of storage. Unfortunately, that's not,